Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. Captain America Brave New World isn't just another chapter in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a politically charged mirror held up to a divided America dressed in the spectacle of a superhero blockbuster, directed by Julius Onah and starring Anthony Mackie as the new captain. This film places Sam Wilson in the center of a storm that feels less like a comic book fantasy and more like today's headlines with quips. From the opening scene, the tone is clear. Sam is not Steve Rogers, and this is not the same America. It's a country recovering from global trauma caught between political promises and secret agendas. 5 months into President Theodore Ross' administration, a discovery of a raw adamantium on a celestial island triggers a covert global scramble. Ross, portrayed with very authority by Harrison Ford, sends Sam and Falcon to intercept stolen material. But things spiral quickly. Ross's health, it turns out, is deteriorating, and the pills he takes to survive are laced with gamma radiation, leading to a monstrous transformation that no one sees coming. As we go into detail about the key characters and development, it becomes clear that this is a film more interested in moral ambiguity than moral clarity. Sam Wilson is shown not as a symbol of certainty, but as a man caught in confusion, bearing the shield yet unsure if the nation behind it still represents what it once did. Mankey plays him with sincerity, often walking a tightrope between hopeful leadership and a growing disillusionment. Harrison Ford's Ross, now president, is a revelation. Though Ford has stated the character isn't meant to reflect any real leader, his performance brims with political unease. Ross believes in order, but the lengths he goes to preserve it reveal a man haunted by the idea that power unchecked might be the only way to hold the country together. Carl Lumbly returns as Isaiah Bradley, and his scene serves as the film's conscience. His past, which is the government's betrayal, the years erased, are now acknowledged in the present. But even as he is honored, he remains a reminder that America's wounds don't heal just because someone finally says they are sorry. As the story escalates, we are pulled into some standout sequences that deliver both action and subtext. The global summit turned battlefield, where Rose transforms into the Red Hulk, is explosive in every sense. Buildings collapse, diplomacy turns into dread, and suddenly the leader of the free world is tearing through the Rose Garden. Then there's this celestial island raid, a visually rich aerial assault that plays to the MCU's love of spectacle, but also hints at global imperialism. And one of the film's most powerful scenes, Isaiah's arrest and eventual public vindication, lands like an overdue reckoning. It's emotional, it's raw, and it makes clear that this film isn't afraid to lean into America's contradictions. As we look into how the direction, cinematography, and music support the narrative, we see Ona channeling the paranoia of the Winter Soldier while trying to anchor it in today's social political climate. The camera lingers on monuments not to glorify them, but to question what they still mean. Cherry blossoms fall throughout the film, meant as a symbols of fleeting peace. Though by the end they are trampled into the mud, a visual metaphor for broken promises. The music swells with familiar MCU themes, but underneath there's a tension. Composer elements echo Zimmer-style compositions with ambient dread, yet quieter moments often feel emotionally underpowered, caught between the sentiment and obligation. And when we look closer at the film's production and design, we see how much the real world bleeds into the fiction. The Oval Office, the UN Summit Hall, the urban decay around Capitol Hill, these aren't just sets, they are reflections. Costume design reinforces elegance, status, and betrayal. Everything Ross wears becomes more military, more armored, and he loses control. Sam's suit, by contrast, stays light, mobile, a reminder that he's still carrying to fly free even when weighed down by the system. At 124 minutes, the pacing is uneven but functional. In terms of box office, the film made roughly about 415 million globally on a reported 180 million budget. While it underperformed against previous Captain America entries, Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige pointed out that this was the first without Chris Evans, and with the MCU in transition, expectations were recalibrated. Critics were split, Some praise Mackie and Ford's performances, while others criticize the movie for trying to say too much while committing to too little. Rotten Tomatoes sits just below 50%, and fan response range from inspired to disappointed. For me, this movie is more of satire of what's happening currently, and there's a lot of themes and undercurrent or subtext you can actually observe. Now, as we reflect on the themes and subtext in light of today's political landscapes, it is impossible to ignore parallels. A president who transforms into something monstrous, a black hero asked to unify a divided country, a public reckoning with historical injustice. Don't you feel it's all feel too close to the surface to dismiss a coincidence? Rose's rise and the fall feels like a parable for the anxieties of modern America, aging leadership, unchecked executive power, and the desperate need to appear strong. And yet, despite its ambition, the film sometimes pulls back just when it should dig deeper. In trying to remain allegorical, it contradicts the very urgency it suggests. It wants to comment, but it also wants to entertain. That tension weakens its political punch. But I understand. Now, Sam Wilson's internal struggle, his confusion over who he represents and whether leadership is still about principles or just optics, that feels especially timely. But instead of resolving it, the film leaves it floating unresolved, like the cherry blossoms at the start, beautiful but gone too soon. Now, let's look at the 4K release about this movie. The 4K Blu-ray home release offers a clean visual transfer with solid HDR grading. Explosions, night scenes, and midday action sequences all shine with crisp detail and balanced contrast. The surround sound mix delivers punch during the Red Hulk transformation, and dialogue is sharp even during crowded set pieces. Bonus features include deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes featurettes, and cast interviews. Nothing groundbreaking, but enough to give fans a look at the creative process behind the chaos. In conclusion, Captain America Brave New World aims to be more than just a superhero movie. It wants to be a statement, and while it doesn't always succeed, it captures the mood of a nation struggling to reconcile its identity. It might not just give us all the answers, but it certainly leaves us asking the right questions. Now, this movie is a must-watch.